Good afternoon, cowboys, cowgirls, and outlaws. Welcome to the Slick Sixguns Network Facebook page. I am getting in touch with you again. I understand that this might be a little bit later in the day. However, if you're checking in, maybe you're on a break, or maybe you're just waking up, or maybe you're getting off work. I don't know. Either way, it's good to see you on here, and just to let you know that I am doing this live stream right now, and we are going to be having a couple more this week. So understand that they might be a little bit unpredictable. That's okay. Regardless, basically all this is meant to be is a time for you to sit here and drink some coffee with me. Speaking of which, go ahead and grab your cup. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Maybe you've also got some alcohol with you. Feel free to raise your glasses and say thanks for the day and just be ready to have some fun, start drinking with me. I just got my standard brew cup here, my home brew that is, usually. Not moonshine, just letting you know, I'm not really that skilled. But this is another session of where I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about a piece of equipment that I have. And mind you, this is something that is meant for the Western shooting sports, so if you're staying tuned to this, then by all means, you can you can see what I've got. But basically, this is going to be relatively short. I'm not sure exactly how long it's going to be, considering yesterday was roughly about 45 minutes. But, I try to keep it down to 15-20 minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes of me talking about the piece of equipment. And the next 5 minutes or, 2 to 5 minutes is going to be me answering questions. Now, if you are, on here, by all means, feel free to type your question at any point. It can be a personal question of me. It can be a question about the piece of equipment I have. It can be just about anything. Mind you, just try to keep it clean as much as you can. I don't want this video to get taken down, but, if you have an honest question, feel free to answer. If you got an opinion about something, that's fine. Just let me know what it is. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. And I'll try and get to your question. So make sure you're drinking your coffee. And yesterday, I know that I said I was going to talk about some history, some Western history. I was trying to go along with that theme. However, just because of the fact that yesterday was such a great engagement, I've actually got some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to show a little bit more equipment. This is going to be just me talking about the equipment. This is not going to be a history of the equipment at all, not like my normal YouTube videos. By all means, if you are actually part of my YouTube channel, continue watching those videos. I got more to come. I got another one coming out this week. Also, if you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, by all means, I think you should be. So, go ahead and join. Also, this is my personal piece of equipment, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's see what we got. Be ready to ask your questions. So, I got another knife today. I'm going to go ahead and unsheath it here in a second. But I've had this knife for a couple of years, and it's a great looking knife to me. It's not one of the knives that I had yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about it, kind of how I came across it and why I wear it, and feel free to ask your questions as you're watching. So let's go ahead and unsheath this thing right here. Look at that. Nice and shiny. So let's talk about this. This knife is actually procured from a neighbor of mine who makes knives. And I told him that I wanted a Bowie knife. And so he came up with a Bowie knife, and he's had it for some time. It was kind of pricey, to be honest. But, I really like it. It's got a stag handle right here. Nice little stag handle, which is very big enough for me to have my fingers wrapped around. And it's got a very nice multicolor here to it. Got some yellow, green, brown, if you can see. It's got a nice wide pommel right there, so you can really thump something if you have to. You know, the cross guard is got one long bit to it. It's brass, very nice. And I haven't even measured this blade. I think it's about 12 inches. It's definitely longer than the one I was holding yesterday, even though that was a really nice knife, as some of you already know. It was a really nice knife. So I think this thing is about 12 inches, and no, I have not used it other than I have worn it as ornamentation in competition. It has a maker's mark on it. I don't know if you can see that there. Charles Miller. Nice, nice little neighbor, nice neighbor of mine. Very good. It's got a nice little design on the spine here. Kind of a chiseled look to it. I really like that design. It's very cool. So how did I come across this knife? Well, I actually was interested in having a Bowie knife for competition just because one of the things that you could have with you, according to the rules and guidelines for most of the Western shooting sports, is a knife. Well, I wanted a Bowie knife. This one didn't necessarily come out in the traditional look, you know, like yesterday. It kind of has a bit more of a cut in the top of it. But nonetheless, this is considered what you would call a Bowie knife. You know, there are some dimensions to Bowie knives that they consider Bowie knives. Usually it's anything over, I believe, 7.5 to 8 inches. Don't quote me on it. I haven't looked up the I haven't looked up the dimensions, but I believe it's also got to be about 1.5 inches wide to 2 inches as well. But you know, it's basically all about the length here. You know, and this thing's a big Texas toothpick, not Arkansas toothpick, but a big Texas toothpick here, so I feel like I can take out a bear with it. It's got a nice little sheath here. I might as well just call it a scabbard for how big it is, because when I put it on, it actually hangs all the way down to the back of my knees, because I wear this on the right side of my holster. And it's got a nice little belt loop here, so it can go great on a gun belt. It's got a button snap, very nice. Keeps it secure. It's not really necessary, but, you know, just some extra security there. Feel free to ask your questions as I'm going along with this thing. It's got a nice thick sheath here. Very well done. Very well put together. I've been wearing this for a couple years now, and to be honest with you, since I haven't really used it that much, and I haven't been shooting as much recently, it still looks pretty darn brand new. It's got a nice little single stitch here coming across and around. Yesterday it was more of a double stitch, but that's Charles Miller's knives for you, and he does a really good job. Very good fit and finish on the knives. I will say that it's not as it's a nice knife. Definitely the fit and finish on it is a little bit rougher than the ones yesterday, but I like it nonetheless. I like the rougher look to it. The brass is a little bit tarnished. It's been outdoors, but yeah, very nice looking knife here. If you got some Bowie knives, by all means share some pictures of it on the comments of this video. Also, feel free to ask me questions. I'll be going through the comments section here in a little bit. As I said, I got a YouTube video coming out this week on the baby bear knife from Alamo Knife Works. If you haven't been watching my video yesterday, which is what I had, I did it on the baby bear and a few other knives, and I just showcased that stuff. So you'll be seeing an actual overview of those knives coming up, and specifically the baby bear, this week. You know, if you ask me your questions, we'll go on. You know, whatever you have, it can be about me personally, it can be about the knives. I answered a few yesterday. I might even give you a shout out. Also, if you are a YouTuber, if you are not a YouTuber, but if you watch my YouTube videos, which I encourage you to do so, if you are actually following me on any of my social media, you know, if you like the content that I bring on YouTube, if you also like the content that I bring with the Facebook channel or the Facebook page, feel free to become a member of my Patreon page. You know, I think it's great if you go out there and you support your creators. Sometimes that's the only way you get really awesome content, because some places, some big name companies aren't always going to make what you want, but the good thing is that small creators like me can do that for you. So it's always nice to support your creators, just because we help bring content to you that you specifically want. And I hope that I'm doing that for you if you are here, and I will continue to do it for as long as I can. So feel free to join me on my Patreon page if you feel that you have the desire to support your friendly Slick Sixguns creator. Anyway, nonetheless, this is an excellent knife for competition just because it looks so fierce. I get a lot of compliments on this knife when I go to the range. I don't pull it out, just letting you know. I leave it in its sheath, but it's quite intimidating keeping it on your person. Doesn't really hinder my movement, surprisingly. I don't know what to tell you about that. You know, I don't use it for anything other than show, just because I really like the look of it. Don't want to tarnish it. Don't plan on getting rid of it either. So, you know, it is definitely a keeper of mine. So, showcase knives yesterday, showcase knives today. We're probably going to have some more equipment, considering that we got some good engagement on equipment. You know, if you want to see something else in particular on certain days, please let me know in the comment section. You know, today's been a pretty good day. Just sitting here drinking my coffee. Feel free to join me, or drink your beer if necessary. Let's see who we got in the comment section. Got some people watching. EIT says it's fancy. It's a fancy knife. Thank you, EIT. Yes, it is. It is a very fancy knife. It cost me a pretty penny, too. Jimmy, love it. Very nice. Why, yes, Jimmy, I love it, too. Very good. Thank you. Hopefully you have a Bowie knife. But the question is your Bowie as big as mine? Same thing, I really like big knives. Yep, big knives are very nice. Very fancy. So, any other questions concerning this knife? I'm going to shut down here in about 2 minutes or so. Give you guys a chance to ask your questions. I'm just going to kind of let you drool all over this as we look at it very slowly. We got the pommel. Very nice into the antler. Very well cut. Going on down to the handle. Very smooth up here, kind of rough down here. And you got the cross guard area. Looks very well put together. Very smooth here. I like this transition. And then going into the brass cross guard. And then that nice long blade right there. Very sharp. Very sharp. Sharp looking and sharp cutting. Yes, very nice. Anyway. Alright guys. Well, since I don't have a whole lot of questions kind of coming up, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this session for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll be having more equipment depending on how much engagement I get. Maybe I'll have a gun cart, maybe I'll have a gun, maybe I'll have a gun belt. You never know. Just kind of stay tuned. This is sort of going to be a daily thing. And feel free to join in, come and watch me, and have some coffee. Y'all have a blessed day.